So, why do I love Slushi so much, and what makes her so special to me? Okay, so Chicken Nugget is a show that I don't just love, it's etched to me as something that has helped me make my adulthood a bit brighter, as sucky as it is now. I enjoy it for its simple style, how fun and wonderfully constructed the world building is, the characters, and the amount of personality they have. I can go on, but I'd probably go off topic in the end. In fact, I love it so much that I even collect stuff for it. I discovered the series a few years ago, so I don't have everything, but I do have a couple of NML pins, the 3 vinyl figures, and all 3 of the plushies that were sold online. Those being Chicken himself, French Fly, and my personal, personal favorite character, Slushi. When a Slushi plush was announced a couple months back, I was ecstatic to get one. It took a while to get here, but I'm glad I waited. And upon picking it up and taking a good look at it for the first time, I just knew I had to make this video. See, part of why I really like Slushi as a character is not just because she's adorable and kind and sweet, but I can empathize with her very well. Not once has a fictional character made me smile more than she has whenever she appears on screen. But those aren't the biggest reasons I love her. I love her because she feels like a representation of who I am as a person. I'm going to get a bit personal here, but I won't go into TMI territory. Don't worry. If I do, feel free to correct me in the comments. But, for one, while the show helped me feel more comfortable with myself as is, she is the one who did it the most. Thanks to characters like her, well, mainly her, I feel more comfortable with my orientation. Down in the south where I live, there can be a lot of people who take their beliefs a bit too seriously or are otherwise homophobic. Let's just say that with me being a minor, at one point in time, some of the people I've come across didn't have very pleasant opinions to give, and some of them were from kids my age. I'm not just talking about thinking it's wrong, I mean saying things that were legitimately inflammatory or insulting to a degree. This made me fear discrimination for the orientation I ended up having, and that bunched up with a number of authority figures I've met having a disgust toward the LGBT community really made it harder to deal with. And for that reason, it put me into a state of being, as I would put it, in quotes, barely proud. A couple months back, I posted some Pride Month art on my community tab, kind of symbolizing the problems I have being a biromantic, and I got a number of responses. Most of them were people wishing me and others a happy Pride Month. Some said that they know conservatives and Republicans who are really sweet and don't mind it, which is nice to see. I wish I could see and meet more people like that. But one comment below really stood out to me in particular, and not in a very good way at all. I don't even know who the commenter is, and if you find out, do not give them attention for it or harass them. Please. I don't want that. But to put it simply, They told me I can't be a Christian if I'm LGBT. And they insinuated that I was struggling with sexual immorality. Yeah. Because I'm romantically attracted to both genders, and that's literally it. Emphasis on romantically. In other words, this person kind of lost the point. This is what I meant by barely proud. On one hand, I feel happy that I can be more open about myself, but at the same time, I don't see a point if it's somehow going to lead to discourse like this, especially amongst people who are a part of the Christian community like me. Yes, I am a Christian. I was born and raised a Christian. I will always be a Christian. I was baptized in the water from the actual river that Jesus was baptized in. I was saved and all. I'd rather not go into detail on why I don't believe homosexuality is a sin anymore, as I'm not looking to change anyone's minds, nor do I want to argue with anyone in the comments. But I'll just say that we exist. Now, back to the Slushi thing. She's bi, just like me, though she's leaning more on the bisexual side and I'm on the biromantic side. But she has one thing that I initially didn't have, which is an understanding that no matter who I love, I am me. And even if I end up being something different later on down the road, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things what people try to pry out of me. Though it's somewhat different in this context, being that she was talking to Chi, who is sometimes afraid of being called a faker if she dates a man while bi. In my case, sometimes I feel like certain people will call me a faker if I simply am bi. And I'm not talking about people on the internet. Because of the whole idea of it being sinful due to misinformation, mistranslation, and so forth, that gives the people the idea to painstakingly mix other people's mental states, or to assume that they're just lost and they'll change their own mind later on. I don't need to explain why this only scares them or makes them more uncomfortable than they already are. But now I'm not squirked out by the thought of talking about it more openly anymore. Thankfully. I know this sounds more like I relate to Chi from how I'm explaining it, but the type of advice given by characters like Slushi really helped me lighten up on discussing this sort of topic with people I trust. And that is exactly, ultimately, what makes me feel less afraid. Just knowing that there's people like her out there, it's very heartwarming. And another thing, just how much she is in tune with me from an autistic adult's perspective is astounding. See, I was diagnosed with ASD, specifically Asperger's syndrome, very late in life, before my high school graduation, and I had a very hard time understanding what I even was anymore after that. I am now 20 years old. I didn't know what symptoms I had, aside from being bad at telling what a joke is, if I was just being rude on accident or whatnot. But over the years, another family member and I have looked into as much information on it as we possibly could have, and I kind of realized I had a number of them already, and I didn't even notice. I'm very passionate about the things I enjoy being a part of, and I'll tend to go into as much detail as I possibly can. admittedly also getting kind of annoyed if I'm either not listened to or interrupted, much like Slushi with her multiple fandoms. I utilize my hobbies, especially if they involve cute or scary things, as a way to not just help me relax, but to put my mental stress at ease. Again, like Slushi, I have many hyperfixations, especially on characters I've grown very fond of, just like her, or just the mere hints given that she hyperfocuses a ton when it comes to forms of art or collecting. Do I even need to say it? As for the actual flaws, in the short involving her meeting Coffee for the first time, to give a couple of examples, Slushi accidentally invades Coffee's personal bubble upon noticing her purchasing this spiked belt, though she doesn't seem to mind it in the end. When I discuss my likes with people, I sometimes accidentally get too close without even realizing it, and I've come to learn that this is an autism symptom. In another short, she invites Chicken to come watch a violent action show with her without realizing that he's uncomfortable with what he's seeing. This can link back to behaviors that are inappropriate or considered inappropriate in adults with autism without them being aware, such as being unable to tell whether or not the individual they're speaking to is uninterested or uncomfortable by the topic at hand. In the short where Chi compliments her new dress, stating that she looks elegant in it, she's blatantly honest and straightforward, brutally honest, and admits that she just doesn't like wearing pants, and she wore the dress as an excuse to not wear pants. I absolutely loathe wearing clothing that is restrictive, such as blue jeans. Like, blue jeans feel very restrictive and piercing on me. And it's even worse if it goes on for hours at a time, or if I'm at an event or something. Basically, sensory sensitivity problems. Also, this part isn't really confirmed, but I like to think of those fox noises she makes as vocal stems. It's kind of a headcanon thing, so to speak. One last thing I really like about Slushi is just how she loves making friends and getting to know people better, no matter the social walls that stand in her way. Asperger's in general, while very high functioning, can grant you some problems in your social interaction. And I can definitely see that in her as a character. I mean, I just listed off several examples, but that doesn't stop her from spreading some form of love or educating friends. It's very heartwarming to see a character so caring to others around her in this literal cartoon that she makes viewers, including young adult audiences, feel welcomed and embraced somehow. And I guess I must definitely be one of them. Receiving the Slushi plush and seeing that my comfort character has finally received some sort of merchandise has brought me a lot of joy and solace, and I've always wanted to be able to thank Kyra Kupetsky in some way for coming up with her. I'm not entirely sure if she'll see this, but even if she doesn't, I'm still glad I was able to talk about this anyway. Oh, and to end this off, to Carolina Reynoso, thank you for bringing even more personality to this character just by the voice. There's no way I am leaving you out of the picture. Anyways, yeah, this was a fun video to make. As always, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next narration, commentary, whatever. Love y'all. Bless. Jeez, what's the matter? You can't sleep? Good. Stay tuned, pal. You're watching Lafawndapasta.